Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, I'm Debbie and I make art videos. So this video is a review of the Royal Talens Art Creation sketchbooks. I did a little mini review when I first got them, but now I've been using them for about 9 months or so, and so I have a few more things to say. So let's get into the review. Let's just start off by saying how attractive these sketchbooks are for the price. These are a very affordable sketchbook, and they kind of compete with a Moleskine. It's not the same paper quality, of course, but they look fantastic. And they come in a lot of different colors and a lot of different formats. 5 formats in total. I bought 3 of those formats. The square size is about half the size of the yellow one, and then the yellow one's about half the size of the pink one. These cats here that you see, these mermaid cats, are a combination of gouache and Posca. I usually buy a more textured sketchbook because I like to use watercolor in my sketchbooks usually. So this was new to me, to find something that was a smooth paper and also claiming to be multimedia. Gouache has been my main medium of choice in the last year, so a lot of the things that I've done have been with gouache, but I've tried pencil crayon, I've tried watercolor, I've tried pastel, I've tried ink, I've tried soft pastel, I've tried neocolors, I've tried alcohol markers, and the paper just handles everything super well. Personally, I like a cream white, so something that's like more of a natural white, a cream white, and this is slightly toned in that fashion. So if you prefer a white paper, you might not like this, but for me, I think it's great, and I think it looks really good with gouache. I was actually very surprised about how the soft pastel took to the paper, because usually you would use soft pastel on a more textured paper so it grips, but it took very well. And I didn't spray it with any fixative, so that's why it smudged, but I'm sure if you sprayed it with some fixative, you wouldn't have that problem. Oil pastel is pretty new to me, so I'm not sure what kind of surface is best suited to it, but it worked very well on this paper as well. Neocolors glide super smooth on this paper because it's such a smooth surface. As with watercolor and neocolor, any kind of water is going to cause some creasing, but you can control that with the amount of water that you put on. Now, I don't usually use my sketchbook for finished pieces. Sometimes I end up liking something and then I develop it further, or sometimes I'll finish like some sort of little illustration or a character or make a sticker in there. But for me, sketchbooks are places to work things out, to do planning, to do brainstorming, to just like let it all out, you know? And I don't keep a really tidy, pretty little sketchbook, but that's the way that I've always used them. And I think if you treat your sketchbook that way, you'll gravitate to it more because you don't feel pressure, because it's just a place where you're letting things go. And if something good happens, then great. But you should use your sketchbook to experiment. You should let yourself have fun in there. That's my 2 cents anyways. Alcohol markers are new to me, so I don't really know much about them. From what I gather, they do tend to bleed through most papers unless it's specifically made for alcohol markers. So the fact that it bled through this paper is no surprise. I did an experiment with some more like brightly colored paint colors, and surprisingly vibrant on this toned paper. I've been looking for a replacement for my favorite sketchbook paper, and you know, this is it's really making a good bid for that position. I've been trying to experiment more with multimedia, and this is a combination of gouache, watercolor, pencil crayons, Posca markers, possibly. Yeah, lots of different layered mediums on there. And some gouache cats. What I think is a really great thing about this art creation offer is that they have 5 different formats, and they're such good prices that it really makes it possible for people to experiment with different formats, because maybe you haven't enjoyed your sketchbook because it's too small or it's too big. It just doesn't fit you and the kind of art that you like to do. So being able to affordably try different formats, I think, is awesome. Although you may notice some creasing in the pages that have watercolor painted on, I have tried scanning those pages, and when you scan it, you can pretty much get rid of that. So it's not really a problem, in my opinion, but you do have to monitor your water levels. I was going really easy with the watercolor in the sketchbook until I did this Burbfest challenge, and then I just went crazy, and I put a ton of layers of watercolor on those bird pages, and you know what? It worked great. So that totally changed my opinion on how you can use the sketchbook, and I'm more inclined to do watercolory things in there. The only thing that I would say, you gotta let your layers dry, because this paper is only 140 GSM, so 90 pound. This little square format I used for mostly my Drawtober, my Drawloween challenge, and some of them are more like finished illustrations, so you can finish illustrations in here. It handles perfectly fine for that, and I really liked this kind of format for sharing online, like on Instagram, because you have the square shape already. I tried mostly gouache, but a few multimedia things. So I think there is a gouache with ink, and that turned out neat and something I'd like to explore more, the ink on top of gouache, which was the first time I ever tried that. Gouache handles super well on the surface. The only thing is that you have to really manage the consistency. When you get gouache at the right consistency, it lays beautifully on this paper, in my opinion. Another great thing about these sketchbooks is that the large format, not so much the smaller formats, but the large format lays flat. I don't have to actually pin it down, it'll lay flat on its own. I use Bulldog clips when I'm using water media because I find that helps the paper from warping as much as it would if I don't. It lays flat. Yeah, the large format does. The smaller ones, not so much. You do kind of need a Bulldog clip to help you keep it open, but they lay relatively flat, which is very cool. But if you're a more advanced artist or doing more serious pieces in the sketchbook, I think it'll still work for you. The more experienced you are, the more control you have with the medium that you're using, and then I think the less kind of possible damage you'll have to the paper. But I think that it would be a great sketchbook for all experience levels, from beginner to a more advanced artist. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope that came in handy, and let me know if you've tried this sketchbook, what you think about it, and would you buy it again? So until next time, keep drawing. See you later.